We're returning. Joe's back here. Brandon Young is back in the game, and also Kata's here. But weird, as Nick would say, not everyone would know Nick at this stage. There's going to be sellers in the UK that know him. But I'm using these words here. It's his first podcast. So he said he's a podcast virgin. So can you please be kind to him? So today he's going to be talking about Q4 and the lead up to that and the situation with COVID. This is the first time that we've been in a situation with COVID. So there's going to be multiple adjustments. Everyone's going to have their own opinions on stuff and processes, which hopefully will help you as the audience. So just so that everyone gets an introduction, Joe, do you want to kick off and let people know who you are?
Yep, I'm Joe Reichsfeld. I own E-Commerce Optimizer. I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching, workshops, help sellers on and off Amazon expand into other countries, other markets.
Excellent. And Nick?
Yep, I'm a FBA seller, selling in North America and Europe. Started with Amazon in 2017, and yes, still enjoying the ride.
Excellent. Kata?
Well, I'm also an FBA seller. As many of you know, clinical psychologist by choice, so I'm enjoying the ride. And a title leader now, so I'm also working and helping others that are starting their journeys. So exciting.
Excellent. And of course, Brandon.
I'm a seller and also teaching people how to sell on Amazon private label.
Cool. Sounds good. I'm going to say some hellos. There's a few in already. Facebook user, I'm looking forward to tuning in. Hello from Singapore. Selva's here again. Alexander, hello, friends. Owen says, hi, Danny, and thank you for all of your time. I mean, you guys as well. Elchin's here. Hi, Danny, Joe, and all. Nice to see you again. And Facebook users here says, hello from Grimsby. All right, so let's kick things off. Let's start with Kata first. You're very organized. So let's just do a quick comparison. This year versus last year, Q4, what is the biggest standout for you in terms of preparation?
Well, I was very prepared last year, as Joe may remember, because Joe was with Matt and I when we knew nothing about Amazon, not that long ago, actually. We prepared very well. We started preparing in July last year. This year, I started preparing in March, and I'm still behind. I'm very organized, as you said. I'm actually moving as we speak. I'm taking my hour rest right now with you guys. So yes, this year I've been planning. I like to plan April to April, or I intended to plan April to April like I did last year, which panned out really well for me because it allowed me not to go out of stock during the extended Chinese New Year and start of COVID. But this year I'm actually going May to May, and the forecast and all that was done already February, March this year. So that's changing slightly as the market grows and the demand grows. So we are updating things as we go.
Cool. Brandon, you're doing things at scale, really. You've got a team down there in China on the ground, don't you? Your wife is Chinese as well. So there's a lot going on in terms of the amount of products that you're launching. What's been the biggest differentiation for you this year with COVID to keep in mind?
Well, it's really interesting. I mean, we've really grown the team a lot in China, and they're operating at full steam ahead. Whereas I think in America, or if your teams are almost anywhere else in the world, they're kind of restricted to traveling and to work, where they have to work. So it's a little different. We just hired our 9th employee. We've got the 10th one that we're hiring. We're hiring a full-time videographer. We're in the middle of 4 different launches. We've got 10 more we're launching in the next 2 weeks. So it's just we're constantly scaling, and I think that we've already started planning for Q4. Simply because we're only a couple inventory turns away from there, and we've got seasonal products that we launch on a regular basis as well that we have to start planning way in advance, just because of lead times and being able to launch them in time as well.
Makes sense. Coming to you, Nick. Same question to you.
So this year is going to be quite different for us because where we're a relatively new seller, we're launching lots of products. And one of the challenges that I've had over the past few years is when you launch new products, they could launch September, August time, October. You can't forecast for what you can forecast, but you can't forecast for what you're going to do. And we've had it, for the last couple of years where some of our new lines have come in and completely exceeded expectations. And for us now, we're in that process. We've got different products. We've got products that are 90-day turnaround, 60-day, 30-day, and certainly with the 90-day products, we've had to make decisions on ordering those in June. So now, effectively, obviously the longer you've been trading, the more data that you have, and that's really what you can base stuff off. But I'm looking forward to Q4 this year. I think, despite COVID and everything, it's going to be a really good year.
Yeah, that makes sense. Coming over to you, Joe, you're going to talk obviously from a consultant's perspective of whipping your clients into shape and getting them going. What are some of the key things that you've been working on this year as opposed to last year that's different?
Building out their marketing, building out their traffic sources. Seriously, with both of them, actually. We've got some different things we're leveraging with marketing. Kindle, KDP is one of them. Content, I've got a lot of people going on content right now as well. And just diversifying onto other platforms, right? It's easier now than it's ever been to diversify. So some of it, is really low-hanging fruit. Google Shopping Actions makes it really easy just to get on Google. It's a different market, different demographic than Amazon. Same with Walmart, different demographic. They're not going to be taking anything from each other. So it's a way to, grow your audience fairly easily.
That makes sense. With this going on recently, in terms of COVID, it depends on the impact of your company and obviously the extension of these lead times and of course, air shipping costs. I'll come to you first, Kat, how have you dealt with the blend and the balance of that? One is obviously cash flow, the science of the timing as well. How are you dealing that and building that into your plans? And have you had impact where your sales went down through COVID, but then you need longer lead times and then your costs have increased to get your new lines or current products having enough stock to go into stock? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, actually, as I said, because I plan April to April, I wasn't really that affected to be out of stock or having delays back in January, February, when COVID really struck China. I was prepared for that. And I just had a 3-week, I think, sooner than expected inventory. I do have a lot more demand than usual. People are definitely at home buying stuff that are not necessarily COVID related anyhow. And the problem I encountered recently is knowing that I was going to potentially run out of stock, I ordered in a present. And my factory is amazing. They're really good and they really prioritize our orders because they're quite big. And the production is always done timely. However, Amazon had taken double or triple the time. I did a plan A. I did some by air just in the odd chance that we were to run out of stock. I did a plan B, fast C, just in the odd chance that something happened to that one and got held in customs. And in the plan C, which was the slow normal to go to the 3PL. All 3 bloody containers. One got held, the one that was going through on the 3PL got held because of the protest. The second one was held by customs just by chance. It happens like once a year. And the first one, Amazon checked it in, but they just told me that literally they're taking about 20 to 30 days now to actually start processing. So, and that actually happened. It was 20 days, 20 calendar days of me bugging them like, dude, you have me out of stock. I have more than 5,000 units laying there. You're not processing. Clients are asking, this is a proof. What is going on? And they finally start processing them last night, I think. And they just did them all by magic. It's just crazy. So right now, contingency wise, you have to plan for literally everything to go wrong.
That makes sense. Same to you, Brandon, especially with launching more and more products and the timeline leading up to Q4. It can become more expensive and difficult to rank if there is a delay. What are the things that you put into place in terms of, the cash flow especially, right? I know that you are well funded anyway, but with launching so many products and then the cost that you haven't accounted for at those timelines, because it can be more expensive on PPC and ranking, etc. What have you built in as a contingency?
We face capital issues regularly, and we're always pushing the envelope because we're trying to deploy our capital as effectively and as efficiently as possible. So it's a regular thing. What we've put into place, though, are lines of credit, access to capital through debt that we can tap into whenever needed. So we can float some funds from any number of bank accounts or from any number of sources, just to get through like the next disbursement from Amazon, or like that next round of products, or we're just overextend a little bit, which is common because of the fact that we are pushing so hard. So I think that just having access to different lending sources when you're first starting out, it's a little bit more challenging because you're not going to get traditional lines of credit for banks. So you have to look at places that are willing to loan to companies that are less than a year or around a year old, which are going to be like,
expensive.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more expensive for sure. And so and then Amazon starts to offer you credit after 12 months, and and it'll catch up with you. But after you get two bank statements in, and then you can go apply from an SBA loan perspective, or you can apply for a line of credit. I recommend you highly do that, just so that you can extend. We try to make it a policy as well to only really borrow to cover inventory for existing products. It's really half a dozen of one or the other. It's all going into the same pot, but for us, it just helps us manage the risk a little bit. So we only borrow if we're purchasing inventory for already established products that are outside of growth phase, maybe already doing well, that are more consistent. And then we risk our profits and our excess capital on new product launches.
Yeah. What about with you, Nick, as well? You mentioned constantly dropping out new lines and stuff. How do you deal with lines of credit and stuff from your perspective, from the UK, obviously, because you also sell here, but you're a UK limited company, so it'd be different in terms of loan structures.
Yeah, it's challenging because for us, the majority of our sales come in America and in Germany. We've got some exposure to the UK, and Amazon are always happy to lend us money, Amazon lending, but that tends to be for our smallest marketplace. So we can't really utilize that, as well as we could. In the past, we've gone to a funding source. We've gone to a funding circle. I've got investors in the business. I've taken personal loans. I've had to personally guarantee those before. I've had to put personal loans in myself. More recently, we've had discussions with a company called Clearbank. I've not actually used them, but they seemed very willing to offer credit. But it's a challenge, and I think going back to what Brandon said, we apply exactly the same principles. The products that are sure bets that we know, we regularly turn that stock, I'm more than happy to borrow money to cover the costs for those. But for new product lines, it's too risky. It's too risky to borrow money on a new product, on a new launch, because there is always that element of potential failure.
You're hedging too much when on new. That's why existing works, because obviously it's a safer bet. Yeah.
So, but equally, just in terms of the way we operate the business, I always like to try and keep about 3 months worth of cash flow, just in the bank. We're pushing it all the time, but I quite like sleeping at night, and I've had it before where we've pushed it too hard, and it becomes uncomfortable.
But that's the danger with cash flow. You could be really good with maths and really push the needle, but then COVID comes along and then you're fucked. So that's the danger. It's like
can change overnight.
Yeah, it can change overnight, and this is why I err on the side of the caution. I'll run off 2 metrics for all 3 businesses. That's it, and I just stick by them. I'm not the best math guy in the world, but those metrics are the ones that I know. I've got cash on hand in 3 of those businesses, never go over 66%, and I always like to have 6 to 8 months cash on hand in all of them. Then I know that from there is like people can say, yeah, but you're not leveraging enough, you're not doing enough, and I'm like, I'm happy there. Does that make sense? And I think it's where your element of risk. I know that Brandon likes to leverage, and I'm surprised that he actually said that he doesn't invest in like new products with loans and stuff because he does like to push the needle. What do you do about that, Brandon, in terms of cash on hand? How do you like to operate?
Yeah, we keep as little cash on hand as possible. I mean, we're constantly playing in that 30 days range. We have personal cash though. I mean, that we can always deploy. I mean, so the business, we're talking about business cash. So I never feel like we're in the event of an emergency that we couldn't tap into some cash that if we needed it. And I think that that's the difference, and that's been really, really helpful for us. And we've been really successful there. We started the business with, a little over 50,000. We probably infused maybe another 100 of our own personal money into the business, but now we're an 8-figure business. So I mean, we're turning over multiple 6-figure disbursements a month.
Yeah.
From multiple accounts, and so we have a lot of cash flow. And I feel like our overhead. We have 2 employees here in the States. We have 9 in China, and that's it. So I mean, and our nine employees in China don't cost us, they don't even cost us $20,000 a month. So all in said, I think we're at a burn rate of maybe $30,000 total expenses. So
on an 8-figure business, that's good.
Yeah,
Really good.
Yeah, we're able to be really lean with regards to our overhead. And that's what's really been good for us, because then we can deploy and reinvest as quickly as possible and scale as quickly as possible.
Yeah, no, that makes sense that your burn rate's a lot lower. Kat, what about you? You've grew the business quite quickly to 7 figures, didn't you? How you been dealing with the cash flow?
Well, as Joe knows, we started with very little investment, but yeah, we're in the multiple 7 figures now, and the growth is different to Brandon's. I actually do invest a lot in the overhead. Not a lot that I cannot have at the very least a 35% lean profit for the business or myself every month, but I do invest a lot on growing the team laterally. I have actually now 6 full-time employees, 1 in China, 1 in the Philippines, a personal assistant, accountant, blah, blah, blah. Which means that
you staggered Q4 last year really, really well with your products and your deliveries.
yeah. Well, we focus on 2 things. One is to deliver a great quality product, so we have very little work afterwards. Post sale for us is pretty much non-existent, other than literally, and I'm not kidding you. I mean, Joe has seen the thank you little written cards that we get from our customers that are amazing, and we take great pride and care of them. So post sale for us is no work whatsoever. Review, getting, we don't have to do anything; they just come organically, which is amazing. So we don't have that concern. But why? Because I invest in a very good customer service team now that take care of my customers like if they were me, and I am very picky, and you know that I'm a difficult, very high maintenance person. And that really cuts down, and we invest a lot of time on research as well. We still follow numbers, we still follow, we are about to launch 4 new products again, Q4 as we like it. And those products have been in production for 6 months, and those products are already trademarked, created by us, tested, and everything is being put in place before. I'm always preventing worst case scenarios. And I think that has really paid off and allowed me to scale at a point where I can sleep at night. I don't have as many SKUs to care for, but the ones that I do have perform really well. So I actually right now just growing laterally. And with regards to the budget, last year I'm also British, so I had but my entity like that is in the US. So I have no lending ability from anywhere because I'm not in the UK and I'm not a US citizen, so I'm literally screwed. So I just had to go with relationship. establishment with my supplier last year, and Joe knows, like, I literally went and say, hey, I need $250,000 worth of inventory lending. I know I only purchased twice from you, but how about this? And it worked. And we're great partners now, and it's amazing. So there are ways to get around it, but you have to be
So you
super
lent on your,
organized.
basically you lent on your supply chain as a form of line of credit rather than borrowing, which is, it's clever. It's good if you can do it, but it's about, you have to be able to create that leverage, don't you?
Sometimes all it is starting by asking.
What are you all use guys in terms, what's your setup at the moment? Is it all been brought into 3PLs into the different territories and then you're deploying it from there, or what's the situation? I'll start with you, Brandon, as you're doing it at quite a large scale. What are you doing for the US?
Yeah, I mean, we have 2 different 3PLs that we deal with, and then we send a lot of stuff directly into Amazon. So we have one in LA, one in Chicago. We actually use Eddie Levine, who's a good friend of ours, and he's got a huge warehouse in Chicago. So some of our oversized stuff is just better to send to the Midwest, because a lot of it goes to, Midwest or East Coast, and then a lot of the smaller stuff we'll send to our 3PL in LA, who's we have a great relationship with the owner of that 3PL, who ships. He's a Chinese-based shipper who has a giant warehouse and does every service.
Is that one of the 2 that are 18 kilometers from the port? Is it John?
Yeah, he is very close to the port. Yeah. And it's huge, and so it alleviates so much of the cost and the headache, and we can get the containers, we can consolidate containers. We're constantly, we have so many SKUs that we can easily fill containers on a regular basis. So we have stuff shipping on like all the time, and we don't. It's much easier now that we've scaled. Those economies of scales have really brought down our shipping cost. And it's really fast too. I mean, you can book a container within a week or 2 and have it here right away. So it's almost, with all the delays with air shipping and then how expensive it got, it was actually almost as fast to ship by container. It was pretty ridiculous, and a tenth the cost.
Makes sense. What about you, Nick, in terms of selling UK, EU and stuff? What's your current structure leading in to Q4?
So in the EU, we have a 3PL just outside of London that handles. At the moment, we do FBA, UK and Germany. We sell in France, Italy, Spain, but that's distributed at the moment through our German warehouse. So what we're doing is just bringing it over to the UK, because it's super cheap to get, part pallets, LCL to the UK. And then we just ship using UPS. I've just found them to be the most reliable. Saying that, we've had an awful lot of problems during this COVID period where they're sort of throttling our shipments. In the US, we don't have a 3PL at the moment. We just ship directly into Amazon, which is interesting because those shipments are obviously growing. But similar to what Catherine was saying, it's just challenging at the moment getting stuff checked in, because we've had goods where the truckers are saying, we dropped it off last week, and we've not even had the checked in emails from Amazon. So you're like, has it been delivered? Has it not? You're just kind of preying on getting this proof of delivery. So
they're not even signing in them anymore. Literally, proof of delivery says Amazon is not even taking the time to sign for them anymore, so you don't even know if you're being puffed around by the driver that it was actually dropped off.
That's a bit of a concern.
That's not good in Q4.
Okay, right, sorry, I got distracted there. Question here for Brandon Young. Can you share the no, he won't do this. Can you share the 3PL contact or name that you mentioned, 3PL located in Florida? Do you know how valuable a decent 3PL is nowadays? Because the margins are so tight, a lot of them hit the wall, don't they? And it's very rare that you can hold on to them. Or what happens, they get big and they don't take care of you. So it's very difficult to get that balance. So
I do share the 3PL with all my students. And so, I mean, that's something that I do offer, is I try to help out as much as I can there.
Yeah. But obviously, globally, if it goes out on the podcast, etc., then it gets inundated. It becomes more difficult, doesn't it?
All of a sudden, I'm facing all sorts of delays on my stuff.
Exactly, and that's the thing is you want to give as much away as possible. At the same time, you still have to protect your neck a little bit. Selva says, do you suggest to keep some inventory off Amazon during Q4 based on the recent lessons learned?
Definitely.
Yeah, Joe, do you want to? Sorry, because you haven't had much to chat about so far. From your client's perspective, let's talk about some 3PL stuff that you got set up.
I'd suggest that you definitely do. I mean, even with, your problems with getting stuff checked in at Amazon, it might pay off to put have it go to a 3PL and then let them deal with getting it to Amazon and deal with the check-in and stuff. You're getting it checked in with your 3PL. A lot of them have really good relationships with Amazon, better than some of these, truckers and freight companies.
100%.
Can move it in there. The other part of 3PLs are MCF, merchant fulfillment. Amazon states right in their fine print about MCF that some carriers don't update until delivery. So the first update that you may receive on a merchant fulfilled box is 5 days later, after it gets delivered or as it gets delivered. That'll screw your metrics on another platform. Amazon did it in 2016 to get back to bag Walmart and Jet. I'm really kind of expecting it this year with Shopify and Shopify's fulfillment. So I definitely suggest, using a 3PL. A lot of times you can find 3PLs that are priced comparably. If you don't have small products and you do a decent volume, Rakuten Logistics now has 1-day delivery throughout the United States. They've got enough fulfillment centers. But if you've got real small stuff, Rakuten is not very cost effective.
Makes sense. Anyone doing anything different in terms of pre-shipment inspections?
Well, I want to add something to that.
Go on, Brent.
Joe is 100% accurate there with the relationships that if from the large warehouses into Amazon. I'm seeing, like, you guys are complaining about check-in times and your stuff just sitting there. You don't exceed that at all if you go through one of these 3PLs. You get an appointment and it's checked in inside of a day or two. I have shipments that are shipped out and they're checking in the following day, and that's been like that for the last few months. But your stories are very common for if you ship directly, and it's been extremely common. Also, to add to that for Q4, keeping as much inventory as possible outside of Amazon in these 3PLs so that you can deploy them as needed is very cost effective, because you have to remember that in Q4 fulfillment fees go through the roof. They triple them. Yeah. So you're talking about, and storage fees, not fulfillment fees. I'm sorry, storage fees. So you're talking about sitting a product there is starting to cost you 50, 75 cents a month instead of 15 cents a month, or, or whatever it is. So that adds up very quickly. And
sending as loose carts just in time, I call it. But you've got to get the science right.
Instead of $12 a month for a pallet, of goods, you're paying $12 for 10 units, and it's it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah.
So what else in terms of what can people optimize in terms of storage fees and that obviously we can do just in time stock, send it to Amazon as loose carts, etc. What other things can people build in to their planning for Q4? Let's talk maybe about some metrics they've got to think about, their index and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do anyone want to talk on that? Sorry. Go on.
Yeah. The right along those lines, the issue is this: it's a catch-22. You want to have just-in-time inventory, but you also get punished because of geo ranking, right? Mm-hmm. So here's the way it works for anyone that's watching. I'm sure everyone on the call knows this, but for everyone watching, if you do not, you send stuff into Amazon, it goes into one warehouse, and then it gets deployed from one warehouse throughout the country. If you don't have products represented in a geographical region or state, then your ranking for keywords in that state is going to be lower. And you're not going to rank as well. You're not going to make as many sales. So we found that you need to have at least 4 to 6 weeks of inventory to have a good saturation throughout the United States. But that means that you're going to get hit. You're continuously on a 30-day turnover, which means you're always going to get hit with storage fees. So Amazon's taxing you, but also rewarding you. So it's that catch-22, but that's a reason that you don't want to send 90 days of inventory, but you don't want to have 2 weeks of inventory. You kind of need to play in the middle there, and it's very tough to keep track of it and stay on top of it, especially when stuff starts to get moving very quickly in Q4. You can go from, we do a lot of toys, so we can go from 10 a day to 100 a day overnight.
Yeah.
And you have to be on top of those forecasts and understand.
It's part art, part science, and you've got no real control over it. You can put whatever you like into a spreadsheet, but you can't adapt for humans.
That's true.
That's the problem. Anthony is said, worth noting that Amazon has increased IPI to 400 recently, and it will probably go up again. Another reason to not overstock or send full shipments into Amazon.
Very good point. Yeah. So that's the other thing. If Amazon has this inventory index, that if you have too much inventory sitting there and it's turning over too slowly, then they'll punish you and give you less space and start to charge you more and all these negative things. So you kind of want to do that just-in-time inventory, but you have to play that balancing game. And if anything's not selling well for you, get rid of it, liquidate it, move on to the next SKU. It sounds like, Catherine, like you're very efficient with your products, and it's really an opposite approach to us. I love the fact that so many people can be so successful in this business with so many different approaches, right? There's many ways to do this business. That's right. And you spend a lot of time developing unique, high quality products, and I do like almost the opposite. Like I'll find something in a factory showroom in Chanteau, I'll add something to it, repackage it, and then I'll launch it within a few weeks. So it's really different.
Yeah, it's definitely different. But I think that you also have to, coming back to, I'm normally mindset Sundays. I've been with Danny because of my trade as a psychologist. You also have to be very wary and very true to who you are. I know your kind of personality. I know I'm not the kind of person that will enjoy handling 150 SKUs, and I know that I wouldn't enjoy running a business where I'm delivering cheap quality products, because I would adjust.
Well, we try to make sure the quality's good.
I'm not referring as to you selling crap, but I have personally purchased
so much crap
from Amazon.
No, 100%.
It's a business model, and I respect it. But again, going back to being true to your personality. It's just I wouldn't enjoy it. I wish I only had
6 or 10 SKUs. It does get overwhelming, and we have to hire more people for the more we launch.
I mean, that overhead for money is not something that is my ultimate goal. It's just having fun while doing it. And to be honest, right now I'm doing that, and that's good enough for me. And it's allowed me to put our health first and family life and all the things that all gurus kind of try to sell you. We're actually living it, but because there is a lot of work put into it. But again, just because you're capable of reflecting on who you are, what you want, and how you're going to get there. Otherwise,
But I think as well, if you like Brandon or say Ash Thompson and people like that, it's about stacking SKUs in order to get to 8 figures as well. But equally to that, it's about where does the home runs come from? Because not every product's going to be a home run. And then how do you deal with those when you need to mitigate and take them out the game without too much cost to the business? So that's a question.
That, though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're talking about.
I can see Joe laughing because he knows that we had a flop. That was a big flop, and we loved it. And that was the problem, that we loved it. The numbers didn't. Amazon didn't, and we didn't know enough. But again, it's how you deal with it. You're 100% right. And not putting your eggs in the same basket is something that I learned from Joe at the very beginning, and it's exactly where we're going next. So yeah.
There's so many different business models of doing the same thing differently.
So Brandon, how do you deal with with moving fast pace? It's like you break things as you move fast, so not everything's going to be successful. Like Kat adds a different perspective. She might spend 3 months on something, you might spend 3 days on something, but for you it's about the scalability. How do you deal with the non-home runs, and how do you liquidate them out the business at the lowest cost possible to the business, including time?
I'd say that we're going to break even at least on it more than 80% of our products. I mean, the ones where we're going to lose money and it's just we miss completely are going to be things that we get negative reviews right away. We had an issue with the shipment. Like there was a catastrophic error. Most of the time we launch a product pretty effectively, and then where we're seeing about 30% of the products is that maybe it just isn't the right design, right? Like if we launch a panda instead of an elephant, version of a toy, Maybe we should have launched the elephant first, or we should have launched a different animal or a caterpillar, who knows? So it's just like we have variations of products that we can do, and the design just isn't always going to have the best click-through rate and the best conversion rate. And like I have a men's bag line, for example, and so like I'll love one bag and think it's going to do great, and it's got great, nice quality leather, and it looks great, and it's competitively priced, and people just don't like the cut of it. They don't like necessarily the look of it. And we have to iterate. We have to change the images. We have to maybe darken the leather. We need to darken the canvas. We need to do stuff like, so it's constantly iterating, and then learning from each launch is how we improve and how we get better. And so we just try to get through that inventory, launch and then launch and learn from that. But for the most part, we're, like you said, we're trying to launch a lot of SKUs. We're trying to build out brands and fulfill out brands, because like if I want to sell a toy brand or have an off Amazon presence with a Shopify site as a toy store, I need to have 100 toys or 150 toys, and I have to.
You need the range.
I need a wide range of toys, and educational toys and fun toys and different ages and different girls and boys and all that stuff. So we're trying to really grow out huge brands, and so that we can have that presence off of Amazon. So we need to move quickly, and we need to launch things. Not everything's going to work on Amazon. Not everything's going to make us $500 a day in profit. But if it makes us $50 a day at profit and fills out the brand, like, I'm willing to keep it, because the overhead of the maintenance of it isn't that expensive for me, because I've trained my team.
Yeah, the work is front loaded in many cases, and you've got to order stock, and you've reduced your costs at scale through shipping and everything else, like you mentioned earlier.
And if we miss, or it's low quality, then we scratch it and we try again. We figure out what the issue is. Maybe we try a different factory. Like we just, it's constantly about iterating, taking the data and iterating.
Yeah, which is a good question here. What do each of you consider a home run? So starting with Joe, what would you consider for your clients is a home run? What does that mean? He's gone quiet. That's not right, Joe.
Hitting their goals. It's all about, everybody's different. Every client that comes to me has a different goal. Some, Catherine was one. She and Matt had their goal. The next person comes along, they want to be a $10 million seller, within months. So it really is aligning their goals with reality, making sure their goals are realistic, and then getting them on a plan to achieve their goals. So that, if they're on the right plan, they're on the right trajectory, that's success. There's always going to be bumps in the road. That's just part of life. That's what makes life different. And being prepared. One of the things Brandon said, it's about options. You got to have multiple options, different tracks, different backup plans. I'm all about, like what Catherine was saying, thinking about worst case scenarios. What if COVID comes back? What if the son of COVID comes back in October and things, start shutting down? Are people thinking about that? Or is that part of your plan? It really should be. It sucks thinking about worst case scenarios, but when shit goes sideways and you've thought about it, you're much better prepared to make the decisions you need to make and, pivot and get it done. If you haven't thought about it, you're just freaking out like everybody else, going, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because your mind's just not focused enough to be able to think that stuff through. So just having done different ways, having thought it through, penciled it out, whatever, it puts you ahead of the person that's just thinking that it's all going to be back to what it was. And when it's not, this is the new normal for this month. See what next month is.
Same question to you, Nick. You've got investors, you've got plans. What would you consider a home run product for your business?
The way I look at it, there's two different phases. You've got a launch, which is basically, is this product actually going to work? And is this going to provide a sustainable source of income for the business? And then you've got your sort of business as usual, which is after the launch. So when we first started out, it was all about proving the concept, getting the products to rank, getting the products to sell. How do the reviews stack up? A home run then was more, get the product ready to wash its face. So effectively get the money back that you've invested, plus obviously all your one-off fees as well, your videos, photography, etc. For us now, a home run is really looking at a product after its sort of first, second, third, fourth stock cycle. Is it producing enough net profit per month for it to be sustainable? My objective with the business is to grow this business aggressively over the next 3 or 4 years and then sell it. So we're not going to be able to do that with products that aren't producing a decent amount of profit. If they're slow moving lines, if they're a long lead time, if they're low margin, that saps cash, that slows down the growth of the business. So going back to what Joe was saying, it's about your objectives. If it's a lifestyle business and you just you love making the products, it's all about for the love of the brand and for you, your family, etc. That's your goals are going to be different, and what a home run's classified as is different. For us, it's a home run is it's producing a decent amount of profit per month, and and gives us maybe another launch platform to take that product into another market, or you could do a variation of it or something like that.
Makes sense. Same question to you, Kat.
For me, I think 3 aspects need to be fulfilled for being a home run. One is I like to work within an ideal 200, but I will take 150 ROI because I will cover the cost of my living expenses, my launches, my marketing of Amazon, whatever, at the very least. 2, that is different enough, so it gives me time to launch the next one before the market catches up with me. And I will say 1, that it's a product that I feel proud to say, hey, this is what I sell, and to show off to people to say, hey, I'm the owner and I'm the maker of, and I designed this thing, and I will give myself to someone, or I will buy for someone or for myself. Those 3 things keep me happy.
Yeah,
and it's what I call a home run. But definitely the ROI is the number 1.
Brandon?
I think any product that exceeds our expectations, like we're in the middle of 4 launches right now, and we had one that absolutely just blew us away. We were expecting to sell 40 to 50 a day, and we're selling over 100 a day. And it's just at a better price than we thought, without having to do coupons. And it's just something that really we've indexed well for all of our product, like all of our target keywords and all of our routes. And the click-through rate, the conversion rate is on point from a PPC perspective and from an organic perspective from the very beginning. Something that just really clicks and takes off. Like, we've done a good job with indexing, with optimizing the listing to building it correctly, and then making it look great and making the offer look great. And then it just taking off. So, I mean, you have that situation, and then one of the 4 products that we're launching is just the complete opposite. Like, we're having issues with indexing, we're having issues with conversion rate. We've had to lower the price and offer a coupon, and just to try to get the numbers, the metrics, and pull the right levers to start moving the keywords up, and then to change the offer. We've changed the main image twice, and so some things require a lot of work, and you're just happy to eke out a single or a double, and then some things just exceed expectations, and you're able to really crush it, which I think is a home run. So something like that is, between the 2 variations we launched of it, we're doing $800 a day in profit on this one product.
That's good.
Yeah, I want to add one thing. A lot of sellers, particularly just Amazon, people that only learned on Amazon, is a bomb product on Amazon might be a hit somewhere else. There's a lot of other markets, niches out there. As marketers, our job is to find our audience and target them. Amazon has its demographic, but there's other markets as well. I have a guy that sells a gun product that really didn't do very well on Amazon. He went to Gun Brokers, which is a niche gun website with 11 million gun nuts on it, and the guy can't keep them in stock.
I don't know how you put that in the same sentence, but yeah.
There's just different items like that.
11 million gun nuts. I'm not sure.
Gun nuts.
I don't know if that's safe for work.
Right. My first e-commerce store in 1999, I had a custom made leather couch that I sold for $3,000. I made $1,500 on it. I sold 6 a month, $9,000, $9K net. I was happy. I was really happy. The guy that bought my store, so I was doing PPC, CPC then was dirt cheap. The guy that bought my store bumped the price up to $6,000 a piece, put $1,000 a month ad in Sharper Image, and sold 3 a month at $4,500 net. So my $9,000 for 6, he was making 12.5 on 3.
Yeah.
No work. It's and all it was, the only difference was the targeting and the marketing.
Makes sense.
It's just sometimes just changing it up, pointing it in a different direction, or looking elsewhere.
Makes sense. Nick, I'll go in the room now. Expectations for Q4. We all have our targets. You want to get to January and what? So, Nick, what is the top 3 or 4 things that will be deemed as a successful Q4 for you?
Okay, so last year we had a much bigger Q4 than I could have ever imagined. So if we can double that again this year, I'll be very content. We've got 11, I'm just reading on the board, we've got 11 products at the moment that are in development.
Do you want to just scan your camera around so we can have a look?
Oh no, it's
joking.
It's written on a blackboard. No, I can't tell you that. If 6 of those, 7 of those, are sustainable and we're still running them next year, I'd deem that success. We're in a different. I'm in a different stage to a lot of these other guys on the podcast. For us, it's probably going to be building the team, making sure that we've got more process and procedure in place. That would, if I could extract myself in Q4 and instead of spending Q4 running the business, instead of being in the business, if I can be running the business, I'd
on
see
the business. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
As we're in that, that weird transition where you're in it but not on it. That's probably a few years behind you guys.
You'd be surprised. I'm still doing a lot, but yeah, it happens. Like it's that is what you need to scale, and it's such a crucial time for you right now to go from that 1 million to 3 million to 10 million, right? Like there's so many changes you need to make in your business.
Same question for you, Kat. What would a successful Q4 look like for you?
Where I'm launching 4 new products within the next 4 weeks, hopefully. So I suppose 20% or so growth is what I'm thinking in terms of the current SKUs. I'm hoping I'm going to have enough stock for the ones that I'm launching. The data is there and says that it should be. Otherwise, I'm going to be selling in the streets in a market, a lot of different SKUs. But I have a feeling that it's going to be good. We're now being able to grow laterally. So I'm actually at that stage that you're dreaming of, where I'm actually just going to kick back and look at the numbers and let the team take over and do things, because that's where I'm really investing. This year has been all about growing laterally. But yeah, I do think that a growth of at the very least 20% in terms of demand is going to take place. And I'm planning to go all the way till May because of the delayed production. In case that was to happen, it may not be your manufacturing, but the raw materials may be delayed, and there is nothing you can do there. So you, again, as Joe said, we don't want to think of worst case scenarios, but you have to, because that's the only way that you're going to decatastrophe, whatever the word in English is, take the catastrophe away of any situation, is just actually being prepared for it. So just think of worst case scenario. Think of February is Chinese New Year. Prices are higher. You want to be shipping before then. Just try and be prepared and forecast. I'm forecasting May to May now. I already did, actually. So
Makes sense. For you, Brandon?
We've got about 50 products we're launching between now and November, and a successful year would be to have at least 40 of those to be profitable. It's been pretty much our average, but and the last 2 Q4s, we've been able to launch as late as November, like mid-November, and still do really well with those SKUs. So, right now we're just starting to plan all of our Halloween and all of our, holiday products. We've got a pretty big pipeline. We've got our team really rocking, and we've got across, 7 of our active brands, that we're launching products into. So it's yeah, I think that if we can knock out 80% of those and be profitable, and then can continue at least 40 of those into 2021, I think then that would be I'd be really, really happy.
Perfect. Is there anything else you guys would like to add before we go? Your mic's off, Kat. You need to turn your mic on.
Thanks for that. I just wanted to say that we do have a pretty good contact for a 3PL warehouse in Oklahoma from my friend Steven Anderson, and they've been fantastic and so easy to set up, even if you're just like new to 3PL, and they are not turning away small sellers. So if anyone needs that contact, just feel free to shoot me a message. It's not affiliate in any way. I'm not going to earn a commission or anything, but I do like to recommend people that offer really, really great service, and that 3PL is pretty good.
Yeah, and Oklahoma Central makes it so you can get 2-day shipping nationwide, which is important.
Yeah, and the pricing they have, I've seen we have a special as Titan members pricing, but even the regular pricing is actually cheaper than the other 3PLs I inquire. So I would 100% recommend that.
Cool. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just had a question for the other guys. I've looked back at our sales data from the last couple of years, and I noticed our Q4 really started to ramp a few days before Black Friday. I'm just wondering, which for the last couple of years has been sort of 21st of November, 24th of November, that sort of time. When do you guys generally see a pickup?
Yeah, it's about the same. I mean, people start to purchase in advance of Black Friday. It's really, really interesting. And then through Black Friday, it's just all no holds barred. Last year, we really had a late year. I don't know. I haven't looked at the calendar this year. When is Black Friday this year?
Yeah, last year there were less shopping days last year as well.
Definitely less shopping days. It was pretty bad. I don't know when is Thanksgiving this year.
It's that Thursday in November.
Yeah, so it's 26th again. So I mean, it's late again. So I mean, it's yeah. I think that you're gonna have more shopping this year than other years, because if you think about what's happening with COVID, 100% we're still gonna have people uncomfortable still going to stores, whether there's a huge breakout or not. And I think that this isn't going away anytime soon. So I think that there's going to be cautious, purchasing. There's going to be restrictions on how many people can be in a store. There's going to be people that just are more comfortable purchasing online. So overall retail sales during the lockdown went down, but e-commerce went up. So e-commerce was up 9.5%. Overall retail was down 20%. If that's the trend for us in Q4 this year, to be up another 10 or 20% while retail is down, I mean, that's significant. It's it's really, really significant.
E-commerce is supposed to end the year 20% up. So, it's just the non, the luxury, the e-commerce luxury items aren't looking good for the rest of the year. But all the other stuff, groceries, all the home stuff, clothes, things to do with your kids, toys, all that stuff. And it's market time, place, category, product.
Cool. Well, look, let's wrap here. What's the best way to reach everyone? Starting with you, Joe.
ecommerceoptimizer.com or ecom optimizer on Facebook.
Excellent. With you, Nick, if you want people to reach out, I know this is your first time on the podcast. Yeah,
happy for people to reach out. I think you linked me in the show notes, so yeah, just contact me on Facebook. I'm more than happy to chat with anyone, help anyone out.
Cool. Kat, what about you?
Same on Facebook or Kata at titanmembers.com.
Cool. Brandon?
You can find my public page, Facebook group, Seller Systems Succeeding on Amazon FBA. We've got a free course. We've got a couple master classes on product research and PPC. We've got a full college level course, so you guys can explore everything.
Cool.
Happy to help.
Sounds good. Just to let you know, guys, just redeveloped the Seller Sessions website. I did mention it yesterday. So back episodes of the show. I think we're up to, I looked at it yesterday, we're up to 494. So some point next week will be show 500. Not the live cast, but if you add everything together. But the reason I've done it is because it's not always easy to find all the shows and searchable and stuff. So it's all automated now. So when this gets published to the podcast, it goes to the website automatically. We're not really doing much in the way of show notes, but I just wanted to give some people somewhere to go where they know they can get easy access to all the episodes. But guys, thank you for joining us. I'll be back here again 4 p.m. BST tomorrow. We are going to do another episode of Q4, but I'm doing a PPC round table tomorrow. So we can talk about getting prepared for Q4 via your PPC. And I'm thinking maybe Brandon come back next week and we'll do one on ranking and with Joe as well and some others on other forms of marketing that is not related to PPC around Q4. So are you happy to join those?
Yep.
Sounds great.
Cool. All right, guys. Have a safe day. Take care. See you again tomorrow. Much love.
Yeah.
Bye.
Ciao.
Take care, Dan.
Bye.
Bye.